The big question, should we be listing daily? Well, let's find out. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Really do appreciate you being here. My name's Chris, and if you are new here, I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle. Now, we are talking about that big question today of, do I need to be listing daily? Should you be listing daily? And all that jazz. And I have a confession myself. At the start of this financial year, I set a goal to be listing 20 items per day, every day, to help grow the business. And it's, as I said, it's been a goal. I haven't been doing it. I haven't been doing 20 listings per day. I've been doing less, right? And we're going to talk about that and help you understand, well, even though I haven't been doing as many listings, how on earth are my sales higher, better, more volume this quarter than ever than before? At first I was like, this is weird, but I understand it now and I want to share it with you. So here are my listings for FY23. As you can see, I started off doing an average there, which was below 20. Then I started to get a little bit higher of 20 per day. And then now I've started to shovel down. And this doesn't include any, end and relist and sell similar or anything like that. It's purely just brand new listings. Now, there is a really big conversation around, do I need to list daily? And I think I see the question pop up in Facebook groups all the time, probably once a week. I have people ask me on a regular basis, and I see plenty of people doing videos on it. Now, what I'm about to tell you isn't necessarily do this and it will work, but it's a series of questions, a series of thoughts, and it's my honest opinion that I believe of how you should handle doing daily listings. And there's some really, really important factors to consider. So let's discuss them. And of course, if you stick around to the end, I will be showing some progress updates for the business and also some behind the scenes. So the questions we really should be asking ourselves when it comes to listing daily is, one, can you actually list daily? Now, maybe your situation is a little bit different. Maybe you're doing this as a part-timer, maybe you're doing it as a side hustle, or maybe you're doing it full-time. Listing takes time. You got to do photos and you actually have to list the item. The better we get at doing this, obviously the easier it means we're able to actually list items. But it's something you really need to understand is, like, can you actually list daily? Like, how much can you do? Because if you're working a 9 to 5, you're probably leaving home at 7, you might be getting home at 7. It's a slog, right? So I totally understand it, but that's the first question we need to address is, can you actually list daily? The second is, what are you listing? You can be listing anything with no intent other than just trying to get it up listed for the sake of getting listings up. Why are we getting listings up for the sake of getting listings up? And we'll get to that briefly. You're either getting it up for the sake of getting it up, or you're getting it up with the intention to sell it and to help it sell quickly. That's what we want. We want to list things to sell it, to make money. The question is then, how many can you actually list daily? So you've assumed and you know that you can list daily. So how many can you actually list? Is it 1? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 20? Maybe it's 30. Maybe it's 50, right? It really comes down to, are you able to actually list a certain amount? And then how much can you actually list? And that's what you try and build into as a routine. And we'll talk about that shortly too. The next question you need to ask yourself is, are these items even worth listing, right? And we're going to do a big breakdown of helping you understand some of the thought patterns behind this. But you need to understand is it worth taking your time to list these things if they're not going to sell? Or maybe they're going to sell in a longer period of time. Or maybe they're going to sell very, very quick, which, if they're going to sell very quick, it's most likely that it's worth listing. And then the final question you probably need to ask yourself is, can you entertain the consistency of stock? Meaning, let's say you want to list 20 items a day. That's 20 items you need to source every day, or have sourced ready so that you can list 20 every day. So you need to be understanding what are the daily volumes that you can be doing sourcing, photoing, and listing. And then the final thing that you probably should consider, it's not really a question in terms of listing in general, but it's going to help you come together with this whole thought pattern is, what are you actually trying to achieve? Because this then starts to help you break down, well, what do I want to achieve? Therefore, what do I need to do to achieve it? And listing is a big component of that. So we can list, but it doesn't mean it's going to sell. It just doesn't work like that. People are buying based on a few different reasons. Number one is what people want to pay. So it's perceived value based on the supply versus demand. What people are willing to pay, perceived value with a lack of supply factor or a higher demand in this case. What people have to pay because there's a lack of supply is evident and the demand remains, or what people can choose to pay because there's a high supply and demand isn't high. So if I listed a packet of Pokemon cards for $30, like this one right here, it's already been opened, but if I list that for $30, it likely won't sell If I list it at recommended retail price, well, it likely will. And if it's under that market price or that retail price, then it's probably going to sell even quicker. But if this pack all of a sudden became a 20-year-old pack and I listed it for $30, it's likely going to sell instantly because you just cannot get it anymore. So that's how the selling process works and why you should pick items when listing that are going to sell. Now let's say, and again, this comes back down to situation. Why are you doing it? What are you trying to achieve here? Let's say you want to make $400 extra a month, and that's profit. So you got to be doing a lot more than $400 in revenue, but you need to find items that are going to enable you $400 worth of profit. Now, we can look at this from so many different perspectives. I mean, you don't have to be selling lots of items to get the $400 profit. You need to find items that you know that can sell and have a profit margin that enable that $400. So you could probably do this with one item, or you could do it with hundreds of items. Don't just list and assume that it's going to sell because it's ticking off a number. Now, there is a number of different myths that I'm going to address at the end of this video, simply because I don't want to dive down the rabbit hole of myths. I'm talking about why and how and my thoughts about the listing process. But one myth that I want to really call out just quickly is people say you have to list order to get any sales in general, because it's not about the items you're listing, it's about making sure eBay is happy with you doing something on eBay. It's not true, right? We need to be listing items daily on a regular basis that are going to sell. Then you'll get sales. It's not about just putting up anything for the sake of putting up anything, because if no one wants it, no one will buy it. So coming back to the point around, heck, if you want to get $400 profit, you could probably sell one item to get it. You could sell hundreds of items to get it. So you need to understand the item that it is that you are selling, the condition, the demand of it, the price, and you need to do so accordingly. If we list 20 items, it means 20 potential sales. But we have to take into consideration the sell-through rate, what's the current demand, and what are the wants and needs for this item. If we list 5 items, the same logic applies. However, we should ask ourselves this big question. Would it be better to list 5 items that will sell within a couple of days than listing 20 items which may take 90 plus days to sell? Of course, it all depends on return on investment and the amount you're selling it for, and are you willing to have those dollars held up? But that's what we're going to discuss, and that's what I want to break down and just help you get a bit of a perspective and understanding of this whole process and thinking. So let's say 5 items cost you $10 each, right? If you list them today for $30 plus postage, so $9, so $39 is the sale price that you're going to get for them. Now let's be a little bit more realistic. Let's say they're not going to sell in 3 days. Let's say they can sell within 30 days. Guaranteed in 30 days they've all sold. So that's roughly $195 revenue, with the $39 of those 5 items, and it's roughly around $70.75 profit after fees, postage, and all that jazz in between. Now, if we had 20 items, let's say the same figures, we're selling for $39, but we're going to be selling them in 90 days. So that's $780 revenue, not bad, and roughly $283 profit. So it's a lot more. Now, in scenario 1, we can do this potentially 3 more times within that 90 days, assuming we can get the items again, calling that out, which means we could generate $212 profit in the same time, but we did less work, right? Ideally, we want to be listing lots of these items if we know they're selling that quick. But in this case, that means we've listed less and we've made $70 less. However, we also need to factor in sell-through rate. Mine is currently around 35% at this time of the video, which is really rewarding. So let's apply this, and we're going to round up because you can't sell half an item. So we'll round up to the item above it. So let's say 35% is the sell-through rate that we're using this math. So let's say 2 of the 5 sell, which means we're going to get $28.30. We times that by 3 cycles, meaning we're going to get that every 30 days. We're going to get $84.90. Now let's do the same thing for the 20 items, 35%. So that's $99 in 90 days. So it's about $15 more. Again, you're probably thinking, well, Chris, it makes more sense to do 20 per day. Well, does it? If you do 5, you're going to get only $15 less, but you've saved so much more time. Maybe it's worth doing the 20 because in the long run, maybe those items will sell, but what if they don't? But this also means you could do 10 rather than do 20. So at the point of this time, I was saying that maybe do 5. But if we start to do 10 instead of the 5 and not as much as 20, we actually save so much more time and we end up being better off because 10 at a sell-through rate of 35% equals 4 sales, which means that's $56.60 profit in 30 days or $169 in 90 if we times it by the 3. So the point is, it's not about look how many listings I have. The point is, yes, listings will give you the ability to sell. But the main reason why daily listing is encouraged is you cannot sell if it's not listed, right? So that's number one. So if you're not listing items, you can't sell those items. But it's insanity to think that you can list everything at once, because if you've got 400 items and you know nothing about it, you have to learn the item, you have to learn the process of how to list it. Well, it's insanity to think that you can do that all in one day. It's just not going to happen. So we build a cadence, we build a process or a routine that fits our lifestyle or your model or your way of doing business and your ability and your know-how. That's why we set listing goals. That's why we list daily. That's why we try and do 5, 10, 15, 1, 50, whatever it may be, and what works for you. But we need to build it in a way that we fill those slots with items that you think are more likely to sell. And that becomes more understanding, and as you become more knowledgeable and as you know what does sell, it also depends on what you can get your hands on and what you can sell. And then the other thing we need to consider is, like, if we are listing items for the sake of listing items, regardless if it's going to sell or if it's not going to sell, you need to build a bit of a plan. A little bonus tip here is have a plan of like, okay, what am I going to do after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Am I going to just, drop the price of the item? Am I going to cull the item? Am I going to bulk lot the item? Understanding how you're actually getting rid of the item as well, because otherwise you'll end up with so many more items listed and they're not actually going to do any favors for you. I know, because I am still cleaning up listings that I've had there since day one, and I'm going back and doing the slow process of cleaning them up, culling them, getting them out, selling them other ways, or donating them. All right, we're going to get into some more scenarios right here. Maybe you do DVDs. Heck, maybe you're able to list 100 DVDs within an hour. I think that's realistic if you know what you're doing. And let's say the comparison is you're doing clothing, and maybe you can do 25 per hour. Look, either way, I'm putting this as 100 to a 25 ratio just for this example. Whether you can do it or not is a different conversation. The average sale price of a DVD, and I've taken this from Peak Research. I've done a few different parameters to get these numbers. So an average sale price of DVD apparently is $13.96 for a pre-owned item. That does not include the post, and it's in good condition, and it's sold by a top rated seller, and it went via fixed or best offer. And the sell-through rate of that is 2.29%, right? If you sell 100 items for $13.96, well, that's $1,396 for an hour listings. Now at a 2.29% sell-through rate, let's say you're going to get $32 worth of sales from doing that 1 hour of listing, right? Okay, now this could be across 90 days. I think the parameter that I put was 90 days. So you've sold 2.29% in 90 days. Let's compare to clothing. ASP for clothing, men's button-up shirts in particular, is $33.65. No post cost again. It's from a top-rated seller. It's pre-owned, and it's fixed or best offer sell, right? It's been sold from either a fixed buy it now price or someone put in a best offer. Now, in the last 90 days, the sell-through rate has been 5.72%. So it's a lot higher than the 2.29. So for doing 1 hour of listings, it gives you an opportunity of $841.25. At a 5.72% sell-through rate, that's $48 assumed after 90 days. So it's a lot more than the DVDs. So essentially you have a better return for your hour. Now, I'm not here to say don't sell DVDs. That's not what the purpose of this video is. I currently do sell DVDs. I can see here over the last 90 days how many DVDs I've sold and the value of those DVDs. So it's been quite rewarding. However, what I am trying to say is this: understand what it is you're listing. Why are you listing it? Are you doing it for the sake of it because you think you have to be getting volume up on your store? Or are you listing it because you know it's going to sell and it's going to sell in the time that you want it to sell? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or longer. Like if you get something for $1 and you know it's worth $1,000, but you got to wait for the right person to come along, hey, it's probably worth having those dollars tied up. But between 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, if someone offers you 100, 500, 600, 200, 300, 800, where's your lowest point? Understanding what you're willing to take for an item that costs you $1. You need to build a flow around this model, right? A flow, and what I mean by that is a process, a workflow, a model that works for you. If you can do 1 item per day, do it. If you can do 5, do it. If you can do 10, do it. If you can do 20, even better. If you can do more than that, even more better, right? Again, are those items going to sell though? Are they relevant to what you're trying to sell? And again, I speak from my own experience because I have, well, you can see here how many listings I have. Here's my sell-through rate. It has grown from 29% to about 35% since December, but I've still got a lot of fluff in the store, and I'm slowly pulling those things out because it takes time. It takes time. But you don't need all those listings to be making good dollars. You need to be making good dollars from selling items that people want to buy. So let's assume that, you've picked your number of how many you're going to be listing per day and that they are going to actually sell, and you have a sell-through rate of 20%. Let's just say you find a 20% sell-through rate of items that are really, really good. As I said, at the moment, I've got 35% overall the store, and I've been listing items on a daily basis, here and there, and they've been selling the same day. And that's timing, seasonal. It could be just the right product at the right time, but I've also done the research of trying to build that sell-through rate. So if you are listing 5 items at $30 ASP and you get a 20% sell-through rate, that's $30 back into your pocket. If it's 10 items, that's $60. If it's 20, that's $120. If it's 100, that's $600 worth for just doing those listings per day. Again, at a 20% sell-through rate. And again, here, I know I'm just throwing out numbers. I'm just putting all this assumption out there, assuming that if you do this, you'll get that. But the reality is, it is in your best interest to list more items daily that have the higher chance that are going to sell. Meaning, what I'm trying to say is, it's in our best interest to list more daily, but we have to make it meaningful and manageable. What I mean by meaningful is relevant to actually selling to a customer, and manageable is like, can we actually do it and maintain it? So let me summarize this before we get into some of the other parts of the video. Whether or not you need to list daily on eBay really comes down to your specific situation and the goals that you have. If you are a business on eBay, like myself, a reselling business, you're doing it full-time, part-time, or as a side hustle, yes, listing items on a regular basis can increase your sales volume and can attract more customers, but it does not guarantee that you have more sales. It gives the opportunity for more sales. Listing frequency can depend on the type of products you are selling and the level of competition that's in your market. Hey, if you've got access to $500 items and you're paying $5 for them and they sell every single day of the week, well, you don't have to list heaps of them. Of course, you're going to get them you're going to want to get as many of them up as possible because you'll make more money quickly, but you don't have to, right? You get to choose that process, and you don't have to stress about it, because you're making more money with less listings. It's very important to find the right balance between a listing frequency and also all other aspects of your eBay business, such as sourcing, maybe not so much marketing, but customer service, how you're dealing with customers, inventory management, posting, and actually doing photos and all the other components of it. But listing obviously being a key component, because if it ain't listed, it can't sell. The other thing that I would like to kind of say as a wrap up in summary is experiment with the different listing strategies and track your results to determine what actually is working best for you. If you go back and you can see that you've got 1,000 items listed, but you're only selling, 10, 20, 30 items, well, clearly there might be a big problem. But if you're starting to get a higher sell-through rate and you're seeing that sell-through rate increase, it means what you've been listing is probably going to be better. And you can start to do that analysis of what makes sense for you to be listing going forward, opposed to not doing the same thing that didn't work. Now, as I said earlier, I wanted to provide you with top 5 myths about listing daily on eBay. Here they are. Number 1, listing daily guarantees more sales. I don't believe that's true. Number 2 is you need to list daily to stay ahead of the competition. Well, it depends on what your competition is. Number 3 is eBay promotes listings that are listed daily over those that are not. I don't believe that's true. And 4, listing daily helps you to improve your search rankings. Possibly, right? The more you have listed, depending on the item, how you're going to get ranked. But again, it comes back to the item that you're listing. And then number 5 is the more you list, the more successful your eBay business will be. Well, that's not true, because there's items there that I've still got since I started, and they have not done any benefit to my business whatsoever, other than building experience, building in reps, and building in routine for myself of getting into that flow of listing. So that works in my favor, but they don't make me any dollars. All right, team, let's dive into actually what's been selling for this week, and we'll touch on some behind the scenes as well. So this week has actually been really, really rewarding. It's actually been my best week yet by about $30. And it's just been purely all because of the clothing. So as you can see here, what's been selling on screen, clothes have been the big win. There is some jeans and pants that have been a big win too. Otherwise, it's been electronics, DVDs, and books, and then a few other little knickknacks in between of, video games, Lego, CDs, and toys as well. So very, very rewarding in terms of what's been selling and the volume of sales. 148 sales, which is incredible. Again, being my best week yet. Now, in terms of top items that have been selling this week. These aren't all my top items. These are just some that I've pulled out that maybe might interest you, that you can find in the thrift, or that I've pulled out in some of my recent videos. So top item number one were the Star Wars Episode 1 Adventures book bundle. I got these when I was with Kevin in my video just the other week, and average cost of this was $7.61. I've been able to sell these for $98.64, heading over to France, I think it was. Walked away with $66.07 back into my pocket. The next one, which actually was also from a video just the other day, was the Cisco 5-line IP phone. Now, I paid $9.06 for this as an average cost of good. It actually was $20 by itself, 20 or 25. I've been able to sell it for $97.98. Walked away with $57.95 back into my pocket. Another cool sale for this week, coming from a big VHS lot from last year, was the Phantasm 2 box office clamshell. Now, this was quite a rare one. It's been sitting around for a while. I did pay $1.69 for it in this bulk lot. Sold it for $52.80. $32 back into my pocket after fees and postage. And then another one from a video probably 6 weeks ago maybe, was this Smock Combat Army long sleeve top. Now, this one cost me around $3.44 as an average cost of good. Sold it for $52. Walked away with $31.09 back into my pocket after fees and postage. So those have been some of the cool top items for the week. In terms of the actual week itself, week 121 has been very rewarding. 148 sales. Margin was around 35%. Cost of goods, I have paid up $818 worth. And I've actually been able to sell $3,683 worth of sales this week for revenue, which is really rewarding. Profit-wise, $1,321.77. I haven't included tax here or GST. That comes out at the end. I do that with my accountant. And ASP for this week was $24.89, and average cycle time, and here we go, we've just been talking about cycle times. The average cycle time for these items was 134 days. That's how long it took on average for these items to sell. So way beyond 30 days, way beyond 60 days, and way beyond 90 days. Now, I've been moving stuff cheaply, but I've also, if we were to go through, look at some of these items, there's a percentage of them that were listed within the last 2 weeks. But the other stuff have just been moving because they've been sitting around for a while. I've had people come through and buy 3 shirts, 2 from the last 2 weeks, and then 1 from the past, or 1 from this week and 2 from, 90 days ago. So it's an exciting process to learn. And the reason why I've been sharing all this is because I've gotten into a good groove of being able to pick items that are selling quicker. But the question is, am I able to retain that? Now, you're not always able to pick items that are going to sell instantly or within a couple of days, or even within 30 days. That is the challenge. But it is the thinking that we need to think about when it comes to listing daily or on a regular basis. All right, now we're going to dive into some behind the scenes, show you what's been happening for the week, and then I'll wrap it up. All right, team, it is Monday morning. It's a good morning. It's a new week, fresh start. Here's all the goodies that are going out. And there's a couple other things I'll show you too. So got a whole bunch of Looney Tunes mugs in there. Probably can't really see it. This was one of the big wins for the week. We've got some, if you find these Wolf Girls, I got these the same day I got that, I'm pretty sure actually. Maybe not, maybe I got it another day. Dragon Ball Z, we've got some full set of West Wing going out. Got some Lego, this little fella, some shirts, some pants, bundle of DVDs. We've got lots of clothing per usual, all the usual stuff here. Shirts, North Face, jackets, and jeans, and yep, shirts, more DVDs, some video games and more DVDs. This guy I got for free. That guy's gone out, that guy's gone out. Just some everyday stuff. West Wing, I have sold that as well. That's going to New Zealand, the Guitar Hero, and also sold this guy, which I'm going to have to pack nice and neat, Elvis collection. So look, it's been a very rewarding week. If you haven't checked out my video from last week, I did my best month yet, and I spoke about the different mindsets, and that's enabled me to continue to grow. And I'm going to have to start changing more mindsets, because the only way to grow is to not always do what you've always done. A lot of it you can continue to replicate, but then to get to the next level, it's like, how are you going to do things better or different that enable, a better output? I don't have the answer, but it's trial and error. Anyway, so I'm going to pack all this up, get out of here, and I've got lots of stuff to be listing and photoing, so really just need to get working. So let's get cracking. All right, team, nice big stack. Love it. This stuff never gets old. Yeah, I still pinch myself from it. It's crazy. Good little stack of goodies going out. All right, team, I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna go home, do some photos, do some listings, do the whole works, and yeah, let's get cracking. All right, team, back here on Tuesday, actually. Just a couple of things going out. I've actually just caught up with Secondhand Gang Vic, and really nice meeting you, mate, and the family. I appreciate you swinging by. I'm not going to use names because I don't know if people know what your name is or if you want it shared. Anyway, appreciate catching up with you, mate. It was really good. We were doing some deals together. And what's going out today? So we've got this VHS. It's gone for about 52 bucks. We've got Jackie O biography. We've got a couple of things here. This is one of my first purchases. Finally sold. Pretty crazy. A couple of little media items, some books, North Face, some shirts and jeans and just the usual stuff. So I'm going to pack this up, get it out of here, and then head home and do some work. Alright, team, it is Thursday. It's 10:30. I've just been getting everything out. We've got 45 items going out. I had my best volume day yesterday. I had 30 sales, and it was all just clothing, bread and butter stuff at around $700. Pretty grateful. We're so close to hitting 37,000 for 90 days. I keep getting up there, and then it drops down because I've been having big, small days in between. So it's jumping around. So what's interesting is there's a lot of stuff here, like SF 579. For instance, that's only been done in the last week, and then there's more of it in the last week. Stuff that I've been listing yesterday, the day before, it's just selling really quick. So really getting better at some of that sell through. Obviously there's a lot there that hasn't been selling, but also I'm selling a lot of winter stuff at the moment because we've had the cool weather come through. So what do we got here? We've got lots of fleece going out. We've got lots of media over there. We do actually have some VHS blanks, Blu-ray bundles here. Got some video games, some books. These Star Wars books is from the catch-up that I did with Kevin, and they're going to France for $95. A whole bunch of Star Wars adventures. Got some Assassin's Creed in there as well, and we've got Skippy. That was from the video with Kevin. That's gone out. We got a space book. We've got more books under here. This is all just in order for me to pack. Clothing, jeans, shirts, fleece, North Face. There's a few bundles in here. People buying a couple of stuff as well. So look, I am super grateful. Just crazy. So I actually posted it as well on Tuesday, and here I am again posting again on Thursday. So thank you, people. Sell-through rate's getting up there about 33-34% at the moment, and yeah, I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to probably start clearing out a lot of the older stuff just to get some more cash flow, and then I'm going to stock up on some more stock. And yeah, it's pretty good. I've got to get this packing. I'm meeting a friend at 1, so got to start doing some work. Quick little update as well, team. We did have some winners last night, and some people purchased some cards. So shout out to all the winners, and a shout out to Retro Ranger and Grogi. Go check out her channel if you haven't watched it as well. She actually came through with no hits, and I don't usually do it, but I did add in a little sneaky one there for her. So maybe she'll see this before she gets it, maybe not. And Retro Ranger coming in with the big hit for the night, about $40 worth there, and then a couple of winners here. So just getting them ready to go out. Everything's now done. Nice big stack, as you can see. Majority clothing, and that one someone wants to have another photo of it before I send it, so they haven't paid yet. Yeah, all right, let's keep cracking on. So that has been week 121. How do you list? What's your process with listing? Are you listing daily? Are you listing on the weekends? You need to find what works for you, but I hope this has given you some insight or some different thinking or perspective to help you really understand, well, how do you want to go about listing in the future? I'm not here to say do not list daily. I'm here to say think about what it is you're listing on a daily basis. Keep those reps, keep that momentum, because if it ain't listed, it can't sell at all. So it's more about making sure that you're listing things that are going to sell on a more quicker basis, I guess. Appreciate you being here. Questions, comments, thoughts, chuck them down below. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day. Cheers.